Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast special edition show where I preview and predict the 2022 NCAA tournament. It's going to be a ton of fun, as it is each and every year. This is going to be the first tournament where it feels very normal, so that's awesome. We have the first four, obviously, at Dayton, as it is each and every year. The first, second round, the sub-regionals, Portland at the Moda Center, Buffalo at KeyBank Center, Indianapolis at Greenbridge Fieldhouse, Fort Worth at Dickies Arena, and that's the Thursday, Saturday games. And then the Friday, Sunday games are at Fiserv Forum in Milwaukee, Bon Secours Wellness Arena in Greensville, PPG Paints Arena in Pittsburgh, and Vigus Arena in San Diego. The regional semis and finals, the Sweet 16 Elite 8. March 24th and 26th is the West Regional at the Chase Center in San Francisco. The South Regionals at the AT&T Center in San Antonio. And the 25th and the 27th, the East Regional at the Wells Fargo Center in Philly. And the Midwest is at the United Center in Chicago. And national semifinals April 2nd and a national championship on April 4th, both from the Caesars Superdome in New Orleans. So, like I said, this should be a ton of fun. And it's all going to get started tomorrow night at 6:40 p.m. on True TV. You have 16-seed Texas A&M Corpus Christi out of the Southland region and 16-seeded Texas Southern out of the SWAC. This is the Midwest region. The winner of this game will move on to face the Kansas Jayhawks. A&M Corpus Christi, solid Southland team. Two guys averaging double-digit points per game in Isaac Mashila and Trevion Tennyson. And by the way, Mashila leads the team in rebounds to a 9.5 per game. And in Texas Southern won the SWAC tournament. They have 0 guys averaging double-digit points per game. They're very a well-balanced team. Their best 2 players are John Walker III, averaging 9.9 points and 4.3 boards per game. And Nicholas, averaging 9.2 points per game and 6 boards per game. Jordion Carl Nicholas. So my projection for this game, I have Texas Southern as a 9-point favorite. Total is 139 and 4/5. And we have on FanDuel, this line is Texas Southern 3.5, total of 136. I absolutely love Texas Southern. I think that they're more well-balanced. They have had experience, I think. They're very, very solid of a SWAC team. And I think that Walker III and Nicholas will lead the way there. So I'm going to go with Texas Southern to win that matchup. And the second of 2 first 4 games on March 15th, which is tomorrow, you have from the East Region 12 seeds, Wyoming out of the Mountain West and Indiana of the Big Ten. Indiana I think should have been seeded higher. They're better than a 12 in my opinion, with how they played in the Big Ten tournament and nearly beat Iowa. So those big wins over Illinois and Michigan really did them well, and they were competitive against Purdue and competitive against Rutgers, who are both in the tournament. They're led by Trey Jackson Davis, 18.1 a game and 8.2 boards per game. And Wyoming is a super solid team. They have a big three. Graham Ike, 19.6 points per game, 9.6 boards. Hunter Maldonado, 18.4 a game, 5.8 boards, 6.3 assists, so he's a good all-around player. And Drake Jeffries at 10.5 a game, 5.3 boards. My projection here is Indiana by 8, total of 137.5. And they have Indiana 4, total of 133. So I love Indiana minus the 4, and I love the over in this game. I know I'm stepping on tomorrow's podcast, but for those games, I'm just going to do that. So I really like Indiana to advance. Second day of the first 4 games, 16 seeds. You have in the South region, the winner of this game will go on to play Arizona. You have Wright State and Bryant. Peter Kiss is on Bryant. I think he's amazing. Leads the nation in scoring this season. And Wright State is pretty good in their own right. They have a good threesome on their team as well, led by Tanner Holden, Grant Basile, and Trey Calvin. For this game, I project Wright State as a 5.5 point favorite in the total of 143. So I do think that Wright State will advance. And the last of the first 4 games, I think the most exciting of the first 4 games, you have Notre Dame and Rutgers. 2 really, really interesting teams. Debatable whether Rutgers should have been in the field or not. Notre Dame, ACC's weaker than it usually is. So I see why these 2 clubs are in the playing game. John Harper's had a great career at Rutgers. Notre Dame is a well-balanced team led by Blake Wesley. I project Notre Dame by 2 3/4, total of 136.25. So therefore, I have Notre Dame to the first round of the tournament, playing in the round of 64. And by the way, the Bryant-Wright State game, 6:40 True TV, and then 9:10 True TV for Notre Dame Rutgers, and then for tomorrow night, it's Wyoming, Indiana. All right, so first round, 11 seed in the South region, Michigan State against the 6 seed in the South region, Colorado State from Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Solid matchup. I think that Colorado State is a good team, but I don't know if this is the right matchup for them. Michigan has had some past experience. Juwan Howard back. I project this as a pick'em in 141. And it's a pick'em in my projection, so I'm going to go with Michigan to advance. And by the way, I'm not going with all of my projected favored teams to win in the bracket, by the way. Some of them I like slight favorites, and then I take the in theory underdog. Second of 16 first-round games on Thursday, March 17th, 12:40 True TV from the Midwest region, 13 seed South Dakota State, 4 seed Providence at KeyBank Center. South Dakota State is awesome. They're super duper fun to watch. Led by Douglas Wilson and Baylor Schreerman. They're both awesome. Providence is a great team in their own right, led by Nate Watson. I project South Dakota State by 2.25, total of 149 and 9/20. So for my first seeding upset that the team is going to be an underdog in the matchup in, I'm going to go South Dakota State to upset Providence. Third of 16 games on Thursday, March 17th. From the West Region, 19 Memphis, 18 Boise State from the Moda Center. I think Memphis is more talented than Boise State. Boise State's better coached, I think. It is obviously having a better year to Memphis. But I project Memphis by 4.75 in a total of 136 and 2/5. So I'm going to go with Memphis here to advance as a 9 seed. Fourth of 16 games on Thursday, March 17th. From the East Region, 16 seed Norfolk State and 1 seed Baylor. 2 o'clock on TBS. By the way, Memphis Boise's 145 on TNT. And obviously Michigan's Colorado State's the opener on CBS. That's a good opener for the first game, by the way. I like when the first game is the opening game's a good one from a seeding and potential upset pick standpoint, from a bracket standpoint, the seeding. So this one's from Dickey's Arena. I project Baylor 16 total 139.5. But Baylor should easily move on from Norfolk State. Norfolk State. And then Longwood and Tennessee from the South Region, your 14-3 from Greenbridge Fieldhouse. I project Tennessee 15 total 138 and 3/20. Tennessee's just better than Longwood, hands down. Longwood, great year, but the fairy tale's coming to an end here. And that game is 2:45 CBS. Here we got a 12-5 Richmond, Iowa from the KeyBank Center. This is an interesting one. Iowa's a big favorite here from a point spread standpoint. Everyone loves Iowa. Big Ten tournament champions. Everyone's throwing a party for them. I know a couple of McCaffrey's kids are on the team in Patrick and Connor. Those are good kids, and they're good players. And I absolutely love Jordan Bohannon, Mr. Clutch, and Keegan Murray's amazing too. But this Richmond team, I think, is gelling here at the right time. They lost a couple close games earlier in the month. I think they've really put a nice run here in the A10 tournament, beating some good teams in Davidson and Dayton, and almost beat Dayton earlier in the month. I really do like Tyler Burton and crew, and I think this is going to be a big upset. I have Richmond, by the way, as a 1.5 favorite, total of 147 and 11/20. So Richmond over Iowa, there's your 12-5 for you. Don't expect a 12 over 5 in the Midwest region. In the West region from the Moda Center, 16 seed Georgia State and 1 seed Gonzaga. This game will be on TNT at 4:15. Projection, Gonzaga 18, total 144 and 3/10. Gonzaga's easily going to move on. Here's a good 9-8. East region, Marquette, North Carolina from Dickey's Arena. Marquette and Shaka Smart, good job on getting here. I think Hubert Davis' team is putting it together very well. That was a rough loss against Virginia Tech. Kind of collapsed in that second half a little bit. But they get the regroup here. I have them projected as a 15.5 point favorite. They're so much better than Marquette, I think. It's not even close. I love their little core of Armando Bacot and RJ Davis and Caleb Love, Brady Manick. So I'm going to go with Carolina. I think they're going to win that game by double digits. I really do. You're 12-5 in the West region. You have New Mexico State and UConn from the KeyBank Center. I'm not even sharing every team's record on the season, which I should be doing. But it's okay. Mexico State is one of my favorite 12 seeds that has a chance. But I really like this UConn team a lot. I project them as a 4.5-point favorite. They're playing in Buffalo. That's going to really go to UConn's advantage. I didn't factor that in the line, but I do think it could matter here. And the projection total, I have 138 and 13/20. So I do have UConn advancing. From the East region, 15 St. Peter's, 2 seed Kentucky from Cambridge. Come on now. Kentucky is going to win big. They have the best player, arguably, in all of college basketball, in Oscar Tshiebwe. He's amazing, 17 a game. I project Kentucky by 18.5, total of 136 and 19/20. So Kentucky's going to win that one easily. And then you have the Wyoming, Indiana winner against St. Mary's as your 12-5 in the East region from the Moda Center. I do think it's going to be Indiana. They're just better than Wyoming. So Indiana, St. Mary's. I project St. Mary's by 8. I don't have a projected total here yet. So I do have St. Mary's advancing, which would be cool to see. And that game will be on 7:20 on TBS, and then Kentucky will be on CBS at 7:10, and New Mexico State, UConn, 6:50 TNT. 7:27 True TV from the West region, 13 seed Vermont, and the 4 seed Arkansas from KeyBank in Buffalo. I think Vermont's dangerous. I think they'll be competitive here, but Arkansas is just better. And I project Arkansas by 4.5, total of 140 and 9/20. I do think that this game will be close, but ultimately J.D. Notae will lead Arkansas to a win. From the East region, 10 seed San Francisco, 7 seed Murray State from Cambridge. I love this game. I think this game is going to be really good. 9:40 CBS. I like that this game's on CBS, getting a national spotlight. I like both of these teams. Murray State's pretty deep. San Francisco deserves to be here as an at-large, led by Jamari Boya at 16-7 a game. But Murray's just better. I project Murray State as a 5-point favorite, total of 140 and 13/20, as led by KJ Williams with 18 and 6, or I should say 18 and 8, pretty much all season long. I'm going to go with Murray State to advance to the second round. 9:50 TBS from the East region, 13 seed Akron, 4 seed UCLA from the Moda Center. I mean, come on. Akron, good story. UCLA is just way better, led by Johnny Juzang. I have them projected as a 16-point favorite, total of 137 and 7/20. So I do think UCLA will move on. And the last of the 16 first-round games on Thursday, March 17th, the Corpus Christi, Texas Southern winner against Kansas in the Midwest region, your 16-1 from Dickies. I think that's going to be Texas Southern. I project Kansas as a projected 18.5-point favorite, so I do think Kansas will advance. All right, to the second day of the first round. 12:15 CBS from PPG Paints in Pittsburgh. From the South region, Loyola Chicago, Ohio State as a 10-7. I project Ohio State by 1.5, total of 138 and 9/10. I actually think that Loyola is going to win this game. I think Loyola is a little bit better than Ohio State. They have the experience. They have Sister Claire. Did I mention they have Sister Claire? I mean, I love Sister Claire. Loyola does well in these tournaments and these big games every year. I know they have a new coach. Porter Moser's now with Oklahoma. But they're still Loyola Chicago, and they're still freaking awesome. So I'm going to go. And I won't be shocked if they are actually favored in this game against Ohio State, because that's how much everybody loves them. But I think that they'll advance, even though I project Ohio State as a favorite. Midwest region from Bon Secours Well Arena. 15 seed Jacksonville State, 2 seed Auburn. 1240 True TV. Auburn 12.5 total, 141 and 1320. Jabari's the best player on the court. Advance Auburn. From the West region, Vija's Arena in San Diego. 14 seed Montana State, 3 seed Texas Tech. Montana State's actually a pretty decent 14 seed. This game, by the way, 145 on TNT. From the Big Sky, Montana State, they're pretty good. I really like Xavier Bishop and Jabrili Bello. I think that's a good duo for them. Texas Tech, meanwhile, really good year first year without Chris Beard. Bryson Williams leading away 13-7 a game. I only project Texas Tech by 4.5 total of 138 in the 10th, so therefore I have Texas Tech advancing. Wouldn't rule out Montana State in an upset there. From the East region, Frisbee Forum, Yale, Purdue, 2 o'clock TBS. Yale has pulled off some tournament upsets in the past, most notably over Baylor in 2000, I believe, 16. I think that Purdue's awesome. They're unstoppable if they're rolling. I project Purdue by 13.5. I just think Purdue's better. And I think they might win this game in a blowout led by Jaden Ivey and Zach Edey. So give me Purdue there. By the way, 13.5 and 141 in the 10th if I didn't say it earlier. 5th of 16 first-round games on Friday, March 18th. 2:45 on CBS. From the South region, PPG Paints Arena, Delaware, Villanova, you're 15-2. Delaware had the win to Colonial to make it here. They underachieved in the regular season, but they're here. Villanova's Villanova. We know that. There's people saying that, Villanova's upset that they didn't get picked to go to Philly. I don't think that that's true. It's Villanova. It's Jay Wright. He's a motivator. At least they're in Pittsburgh for a couple games here. But I didn't give them credit for it in the line because it's not as close as where it would be a big crowd. I have an exception for this rule coming up because I say it has to be less than 2 hours away and less than 100 miles. And that's neither for Villanova with Pittsburgh. But I do project them as a 14.25 favorite, total of 139 and 3/5. Colin Gillespie, Justin Moore lead the way as I have Nova into the second round. 3:10 True TV from the Midwest region, from Bon Secours Well Arena in Greensville. Miami, USC, you're 10-7. A lot of people like Miami. Miami's a good team. They've had a good year. Jim Larinaga is a hell of a coach. Andy Enfield, I don't think gets talked about among good coaches in the country. I think USC is one of the more underrated teams heading into the tournament. There's always that team that falls apart in the middle of the year that still makes the tournament as a mid-seed that goes on a run. I feel like that could be USC this year. I project them as 8.5-point favorite, total of 142 and 3/20. I love Isaiah Mobley and Boogie Ellis. That's a good duo. I know Miami has Cameron McGusty, probably the best player on the court in this game, and Isaiah Wong's awesome too, but USC is a better team, so I'm going with USC to advance. At 4:15 on TNT, you have the Rutgers Notre Dame winner against Alabama from Vejas Arena in the West region. You're 11-6. I believe that will be Notre Dame. They're just better than Rutgers, as I mentioned at the top of the show. I project Bama as a 1-point favorite here. But in theory, it is tempting to advance Notre Dame over Alabama. But I just think Alabama's better. Nate Oates is a good coach. I really do like Jaden Shackelford. I think he'll step up and lead the Tide to the second round. 4:30 TBS. 11 seed Virginia Tech 6 seed Texas from the East region for Frisbee Forum. Vatech had to go to had to win the ACC tournament to get here. There's people saying that they wouldn't have been in the tournament if they lost this game. I don't think that's true. If they lost to Duke, they would have been in Dayton. If the statement's true, if they didn't win that game, they wouldn't have been in the tournament. They would have been an auto bid, a 12 seed, not with some of these at-large teams here. But great run for Vatech, led by Keve Aluma, and Texas has the Andrew Jones story and everything. He's awesome. Timmy Allen's great, and so is Marcus Carr. They have a better coach than Chris Beard. All due respect to Mike Young. I project Texas by 3.5, total of 130 and 9/20. So, therefore, I have Texas advancing. 650 TNT from the South Region PPG Paints Arena. 13 seed Chattanooga, 14 seed Illinois. Chattanooga's in the tournament for the first time in a while out of the SoCon. I think they're awesome. But Illinois has one of the better guards in the country in Kofi Cockburn. I project Illinois by 5 3/4, total of 141 and 3/20. So, therefore, I have Illinois advancing. 7 o'clock CBS. 15 seed Cal Fullerton, 2 seed Duke. West region from Bon Secours as well. Duke's going to have somewhat of a home court here. They're just way better than Fullerton. Coach K's farewell, led by Paolo Banchero. I think that Duke's going to win. I project them by 24 1/4, total of 141 in the 10th. 720 CBS, or TBS, my bad, from Frisbee Forum. I project LSU, 6 seed, over 11 seed Iowa State as a 10.5 point favorite, total of 133 and 1/20. I do think that people like Iowa State, they overachieved this year. I do really like Isaiah Brockington. I know LSU just lost its coach, and that's why everybody's against them. But I think they're going to rally here, led by Tari Eason. So I'm going to go with LSU. 727 True TV from Vigus Arena in San Diego, South Region. 1 seed Arizona against the winner of Wright State Bryant as the 16. I think it's going to be Wright State. I project Zona by 17 3/4. I know Arizona could potentially be down Kirk Risa, which would take a point off the projection down to 16 3/4, but they're still better than Wright State. Come on. So I'm going to go with Arizona. South Region PPG Paints Arena, 12 seed UAB, 5 seed Houston. I like UAB a lot. They're a good team. Conference USA tends to shell out some of these diamond in the rough teams. I really like Jordan Walker. Great player, but the Cougars have been there and done that. They're a great team. Yes, they did lose Marcus Sasser. That is so very unfortunate. But they rallied. Kelvin Sampson's an amazing coach. Kyler Edwards will lead the way. I project Houston by 8, total of 140 and 17/20. And that game, by the way, 9:20 TNT. 9:40 CBS, 10 seed Davidson, 17 Michigan State from the West region from Bon Secours. Interesting game. Your A10 regular season champs against March Darling with Izzo in Michigan State. They're pretty balanced this year. I like Gabe Brown, really good, but the best player on the court in this game will be Davidson's Foster Loyer. I project Sparty as a 3/4 favorite in the total of 140 and 9/20, but I'm picking Davidson to advance. I'm picking Davidson to advance to the next round in a seeding upset and a point spread upset too. 15th of 16 games on Friday, March 18th. 9:50 TBS. Midwest region, Frizz Forum. Midwest region, like I said, 14 seed Colgate, 3 seed Wisconsin. This is the exception to the rule of the bumping up for potential home court because less than 100 miles in less than 2 hours. That's Wisconsin. That's Madison from the Kohl Center to Frizz Forum. So if this was anywhere else, Wisconsin would be 1.5. Or I'm sorry, 7.5. It's 1.5 difference. So Wisconsin 9 total, 140 and a 10th. Johnny Davis has got to be ready here. No player is more critical to their team's success in terms of a health standpoint, make or break, than Johnny Davis. I know we just talked about Arizona's injury, but Johnny Davis is Wisconsin. And I project Wisconsin to advance here. And last but not least, South Region, Vegas Arena, 9:57 on True TV. 9C TC Hall of TCU, 8C Seton Hall. I was trying to say TCU and Seton Hall together. That's funny. Like I said, from Vegas Arena in San Diego. I feel like Seton Hall always plays out west in the first round every year. It feels like. TCU really nice team from the Big 12 that kind of came around late on the year, led by Mike Miles. Seton Hall's really solid out of the Big East, led by Jared Rowan. And I think that Seton Hall's better. I project them as an 8-point favorite, total of 135.5, so therefore I have Seton Hall advancing. All right, second round. I don't know the order of the games in which they're going to be played, but instead, I'm going to do it by region. So the West region, 9 seed Memphis, 1 seed Gonzaga from the Moda Center. This is where I think the Memphis season will come to an end. They're going to end it on somewhat of a not so great note. I do think that Gonzaga has a chance to crush them because they're better than Memphis. But at least Penny Hardaway can say that he won an NCAA tournament game potentially. So I project Gonzaga by 10 3/4. So I have Gonzaga advancing to the Sweet 16. West region, 5 seed UConn, 4 seed Arkansas from KeyBank. I project this as a pick'em. I talked about it earlier. I do think that playing in Buffalo will benefit UConn, so I'm going to go UConn to advance. 6 seed Alabama, 3 seed Texas Tech from Vegas Arena. This is an interesting one. I think that Texas Tech's a good team, and I think Alabama's a good team. But I'm going to go with an upset here. I'm going to go with Alabama to take down Texas Tech. I project Texas Tech as a 1-point favorite, but I do think that Alabama has the tangibles to take down Texas Tech, so I'm going to make that pick here on the show. And then 10 seed Davidson, 2 seed Duke from Bond Secures. Banchero is the best player on the court. I have Duke projected by 11 in the quarter, so Duke to the Sweet 16. That's easy. South region, Vegas Arena, 8 seed Seton Hall, 1 seed Arizona. We'll see with the health status of Arizona's Kirkisa, but I do think that he could be back for that. Even with him, I have projected 9 1/4. Without him, be 8 1/4. So either way, I have Arizona advancing. They're just better than Seton Hall this year. South region, 5 seed Houston, 4 seed Illinois from PPG Paints. I love Coffee Cockburn. He's just so amazing. But I'm going to go with the upset here with Houston. I just think that Sampson is just someone that just thrives in these spots. And I love Kyler Edwards. So I'm going to go with Houston to the Sweet 16. Cambridge Fieldhouse, South region, 11 seed Michigan, 3 seed Tennessee. I think this is a good opportunity for Tennessee to really show people that they're like the real deal. I know people saw them win the SEC tournament, but I think a lot of people are going to be on Michigan in this game. And I really do like Kennedy Chandler and Santiago Vescovi. I project Tennessee by 8, so therefore I have them advancing to the Sweet 16. PPG Paints, I have 10 seed Loyola Chicago, 2 seed Villanova. I love this matchup. I want it to happen. I do think Loyola, as big as a dog, I have them projected, has a chance to actually win. But I'm not going to pick them here. I have Villanova by 10 in the quarter. They're the best two players on the court in Moore and oh my God, I'm blanking on his name. Justin Moore and the guy that got hurt last year, Colin Gillespie. Midwest region, 8 seed San Diego State, 1 seed Kansas from Dickies. Kansas is better than San Diego State. I project Kansas by 8 1/4. I think that could be a blowout. Here's everyone's favorite one. A 13-12 in the second round. We're going to have it in the Midwest. South Dakota State, Richmond from KeyBank Center in Buffalo. I think that this is a fun game. I really think that South Dakota State could be that gravitating team this year, kind of like how Loyola Chicago and Oral Roberts and all these other past teams. I love Wilson and Sherman. I think they're going to get it done. I project them 2 3/4 over Richmond. So I have South Dakota State into the Sweet 16. 6 seed LSU, 3 seed Wisconsin from Frizzef Forum. If this wasn't at Frizzem, I have it as a pick 'em and consider picking LSU to go on a run. But because of the turmoil, I think this is where it comes to an end. Plus, Frizzef Forum, 1.5. Johnny Davis leads the way. I like Wisconsin. Bon Secours Well Arena. 7 seed USC, 2 seed Auburn. Auburn has had a dream season. They're a 2 seed with hopes of being a 1. But I really think that this Trojans team is more dangerous than people are giving credit for. I love Jabari. I think he is amazing. He's probably the best player on the court in this game. But I love Mobley and Ellis too. I project USC by a 0.5 point. So I have your first 2 seed out of the tournament in Auburn and USC into the Sweet 16. East region. Dickies Arena. 8 seed North Carolina, 1 seed Baylor. I think Dickies can make a difference here with some of the fans for Baylor. I think Baylor is a better all-around team than Carolina this season. I have Baylor projected by 4, so therefore I have Baylor advancing. And then this is a fun one. 5 seed St. Mary's, 4 seed UCLA from Moda. I think the best player on the court is going to be Johnny Jazang. I project UCLA by 4.5. Or I'm sorry, 4 1/4. So I have UCLA into the Sweet 16. 6 seed Texas, 3 seed Purdue from Frizev. There's just something off with Texas this year, and I really like Purdue's offensive upside in this entire tournament. I love Chris Beard, but something's just not right with this team. I think Ivy and Eddie lead the way for Purdue. I project them by 4.5. Frizev Forum's going to help them, so I have them into the Sweet 16. And last but not least, in the round of 32, 7 seed Murray State, 2 seed Kentucky from Cambridge. Murray's a great story. I do think there's a possibility that the Vegas line is going to be larger than my projection to the point where I might bet on Murray State to cover the point spread. But Kentucky's just way better. Oscar Sheboy's on Kentucky. He's not on Murray State. I project Kentucky by 6, so therefore I have Kentucky into the Sweet 16. All right, the Sweet 16. From the Chase Center, West Region, 5 seed UConn, 1 seed Gonzaga. I think UConn is just super duper underrated. I think they're really, really good. I do think that they could sneak up on some people in the regionals here, but as much as I love R.J. Cole and Adama Sanogo, Chad Holmgren's on the other side. He's the best player on the court, and I love Drew Timme too. I project Gonzaga by 7, so therefore I have Gonzaga back in the Elite Eight. In the second game from the Chase Center, 6-seed Alabama, 2-seed Duke. So surprise team in Alabama to some in the Sweet 16. But the best player on the court is Paolo Banchero of Duke. I project Duke by 10 1/4, so therefore I have Duke advancing to take on Gonzaga. South Region, AT&T Center, 5-seed Houston, 1-seed Arizona. Hopefully, Thierry's back for Arizona by then. They need him back because I really like this Houston team a lot. I really think Carissa needs to be back here. I project Zona by 1.5, and Zona finds a way to win the game, so I'm going to go with Zona to go to the Elite Eight. In the second game from AT&T Center, 3-seed Tennessee, 2-seed Villanova. Great game. Has classic written all over it, but Gillespie and more big games in Tennessee's team. I have Villanova projected by 1.5, so I have Villanova to the Elite Eight. Midwest region, 13 seed South Dakota State and 1 seed Kansas from the United Center. South Dakota State's amazing. I think that they can actually compete in this game with Kansas. But Kansas is just so much better talent-wise than South Dakota State, led by Ochai Agbaji and Christian Braun and David McCormack, who's a really good glue guy, and Jalen Wilson. I project Kansas by 4 1/4, so I have Kansas to the Elite Eight. In the second of 2 from the UC, I have 7-seed USC, 3-seed Wisconsin. We don't know how healthy Johnny Davis will be, but even with Johnny Davis, I just am sensing that the Trojans are a giant sleeper to potentially, dare I say, win the Midwest region. I project them by 7 here. I have USC to the Elite Eight. And the East region from Wells Fargo Center, I went chalk in the East. Almost went chalk in the South, but didn't. And I went a little nuts in the Midwest. And I kind of went nuts in the West, sort of. But the East I have chalky, for the Sweet 16 at least. So, 4-seed UCLA, 1-seed Baylor. My projection is Baylor by 3/4. I love Baylor. I think Baylor's awesome. They have a chance to repeat as national champions, but I don't know if they're actually going to do it. So many holdover guys from that team that won a year ago. I love James Okinjo and Adam Flagger. They're awesome. But I think the Bruins are bound to make a run here. I love Johnny Davis. Johnny Juzang. And Jamie Jacquez Jr. is so special of a player, too. I do think UCLA will knock off Baylor into the Elite Eight. In the second of 2, I have 3-seed Purdue, 2-seed Kentucky from Wells Fargo. You have the elite Purdue offense against Shibwe from Kentucky. But I think Shibwe is going to lead the way. I project Kentucky by 1.5, so I do think Kentucky will be in the Elite Eight. So the Western Regional Final from the Chase Center. 2-seed Duke, 1-seed Gonzaga. Drew Timme, Chet Holmgren, Paolo Banchero, Mark Few, Mike Krzyzewski. I mean, I was so tempted to pick Duke here. I wanted to go with Duke in Coach K's final season. It's just fairy tale of how this would play out. But I can't potentially go against the guy that I think is the favorite to be the number 1 overall pick right now, Chet Holmgren. I just can't. And Drew Timme's have been there, done that guy. I project Gonzaga by 1. I think Gonzaga will move on to the Final Four. The South Regional Final from the AT&T Center in San Antonio. 2 seed Villanova, 1 seed Arizona. This is going to be a fun game. I really do. I think it's going to be a lot of three-point shooting. I do think that Korea's back for this game. But I love the Gillespie-Moore combo. I project Zona by 3/4, but I do think that Villanova is a team that advances here to the Final Four. Midwest region from the United Center. 7 seed USC, 1 seed Kansas. I was tempted to pick USC. I was tempted, but I just couldn't do it. Ellis and Mobley are amazing. But don't sleep on the Jayhawks. I think they can win the title. I love Braun and Wilson and Ajabi and McCormick. That's a good foursome. So I think Kansas advances. And the East Regional Final from the Wells Fargo Center. 4 seed UCLA, 2 seed Kentucky. Oscar Tshiebwe, Johnny Juzang. I think it's going to be a lot of fun with this game. And I really do like Jermaine Jacquez, too. I project Kentucky by 1/4, but I'm going with the seeding upset with UCLA into the Final Four. All right, the Final Four from the Caesars Superdome. That would be April 2nd and 4th. And I got in the one side UCLA, your East Regional winner, and your West Regional winner, Gonzaga. Rematch from a Final Four game a year ago, which that iconic buzzer beater was hit by Jalen Suggs, who's now playing for the Orlando Magic. But I still think Gonzaga's better with Holmgren and Timmy. I project Gonzaga by 3 1/4, so I think Gonzaga will be in the championship game for the second consecutive year. And the last of the Final Four games from the Caesars Superdome, South Regional winner Villanova and Midwest Regional winner Kansas. I love Villanova. This is a big game program. Jay Wright's a big game coach. This is where Bill Self tends to choke. Some people might have them as a favorite here, but I think this is Nova's time to shine. I project Nova by 2 with Colin Gillespie, Justin Moore. I have them into the championship. And the championship game, April 4th, on TBS at 8 o'clock. I have your 2 seed from the South Region, Villanova, and your 1 seed from the West Region, Gonzaga. I think this is an excellent game between 2 excellent teams, 2 excellent coaches. Mark Few on one side, Jay Wright on the other. This would be Gonzaga's 3rd national championship game in a 6-year span. And it will be Villanova's 3rd championship game in a 7-year span. And I should say in a 6 tournament span and in a 5 tournament span for Gonzaga because of the 2020 tournament being canceled. So outside of Timmy and Holmgren, you have Julian Strawweather, who's awesome. You have Razor Bolton, who's really good. Andrew Nembhard, who's awesome. And outside of Nova's top 2 with Moore and Gillespie, you have 2 guys who I really like in Jermaine Samuels and Caleb Daniels, who are both seniors. But that said, I do think this is finally Gonzaga's time to shine. I love Chet Holmgren. I think he's the guy who is going to finally push Gonzaga over the top. I project them 2.5 over Villanova, so therefore my pick to win the 2022 NCAA tournament, the Gonzaga Bulldogs, as Mark Few finally will cut down the nets in the NCAA tournament with his team. All right, so there you have it for the NCAA tournament projections. This was a lot of fun, and we'll see how I do with this.